We are in Ein Yaakov on page 62a1. So it says, Tanya, we learned it has been taught in the Braita, Amar Rav Akiva. Rav Akiva said, Pam achad ichnasti acher Rav Yeshua lebeit Akisa. One time I entered after Rav Yeshua into the bathroom, to the train. But the Martiv I learned from him three things. I learned three things from his behavior. One is Mati she'ena nifnin Mizrach Umamar Ma'arav El Tzafon V'Darom. I learned that we do not defecate while facing east or west, but only while facing north or south. Okay, and just so you should know, Rav Yeshua lived in Judea, where this was a required manner of defecation. That's what Rashi explains. Another thing that we learned, I just want to see what Rashi is.
Judea, a city in Israel?
Sorry?
Judea, a city in Israel?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Judea or Yehuda?
Yehuda.
It's in the kingdom of Judea?
Who's
You have Judea and Samaria is actually
the southern nations.
southern nations.
After they split.
Oh, okay. The kingdom of Judea.
Yes.
Not the city of Judea.
Right.
So that was the righteous one?
Say again?
Which one was the
Judea was, the southern was from King David,
Yeah.
northern was not.
Yeah.
I don't want to say who was righteous and who was not. That's not a fair ball statement.
Right, but when it says, like, one of them was like we're talking about either it's Yom Kippur or it's the other one where we sit on the floor and turn off the
Yom
lights.
Tisha B'Av.
That one. It's like the two nations are saying, the two people, the northern tribes who made up the northern nation and the southern tribes who made the southern nation. The northern tribes are like, we have it worse because we got invaded and we were misguided, or our leaders weren't righteous or something like that. And then the southern tribes, no, we were worse because we were invaded twice, and the second time wasn't necessarily because of our fault. The Babylonians just came down and went through you and it came to us.
Okay.
Isn't that right?
I'm not sure.
I may not be remembering that.
You may be remembering correctly. I may not know the story. So I'm not sure. But the northern kingdom generally was a break-off kingdom. That was Jeroboam versus Rehoboam, and it was all bisyatish. It was all because Hashem wanted it, and it's all because what happened. So because of David, it's all happened because of David, because David sinned with Bathsheba and so on and so forth. Although they say we're not getting into that whole argument: did he sin? Didn't he sin? So on and so forth. But because he did some things wrong, Hashem said your kingdom will be split up after Shlomo. So after Shlomo, the break is done, and Rehoboam is given the opportunity to run the system nicely. All I have to do is follow Hashem. And he wants, just a very quick overview, what he wants to do is keep his power base. So he makes the golden calves and puts them in Dan, and I forget the other place he put in, but he picks two places. So, and he says you don't have to go back to the temple, you just have to go to these places where the golden calves are set up. There's only two, and that's it. So he was afraid that if they go back to the temple, then they would become loyal servants to the Davidic kingdom again, and he did not want to lose his power base. As a result of that, he is forever blamed for bringing the golden calf into it, and he's considered an evil king for that. I'm not arguing whether he was or was not an evil king, as far as kings go, but he did something that was wrong in God's eyes. So, but he ran. I mean, if you think about it, he's running 10 tribes. Yeah. There's only 2 that remain with, the southern kingdom. It's only 2 tribes. So it really was a mass, revolution. It wasn't like there was an equal kingdom here.
Mm-hmm. Well, the southern tribe was Judah.
Sorry again?
The southern tribe was Judah. One of them.
Well, Judah and Benjamin.
Yeah, I think Judah was the biggest tribe, no?
Yeah, that would vary. I mean, Menashe was up there too.
Right.
If you look at Menashe, they had a lot of land. So you have to look at numbers. You have to. I mean, I'm not saying the book of,
Right.
but you have to really look at the numbers. They keep giving tallies. So you look at numbers, you can figure out who was the bigger tribe. But I'm just saying, even if Yehuda was a big tribe, it wasn't equal to 10 tribes worth. You know, it's one tribe. So, and then you have Binyamin, which is also not a gigantic tribe. It's not a small tribe, but it's not very gigantic.
Where was Levi? Because
Levi doesn't have land.
Right, but they were scattered, so they were north and south.
They're all over.
Right, so we just...
So there were more Levium in the south, just by places.
The Torah, because the basically
Well, the base of Mikdash, no, the Levium were all spread out, though. You had 48 cities.
Oh.
You had the 48 cities of Levium. So, and then...
So more the cities concentrated near the...
Well, again, just by sheer, it's places to run. You have the six for refuge, and then you have the 42 others.
Right.
So they're scattered throughout the 12 tribes. So it would make sense again that the majority were outside of Judea and Judea. It makes sense that they were. They weren't all concentrated.
Right.
And so, again, they are, but they don't have land. They don't have skin in the game, in reality. You know, that's, whenever you don't have skin in the game, like most of the United States doesn't have skin in the game. If you think about it, you know, with what's going on, we really don't have skin in the game. Because we're just going on. I mean, if you're a farmer and they suddenly go against you on the farming, so then that's when the farmers rebel. If workers unite, I mean, that's where the unions came from, because the workers then had skin in the game. But workers really don't care, for the most part, what the government is doing, as long as it doesn't impact upon them. That's what I'm saying. There's no skin. When people have insurance, they didn't care about Obamacare. When they said they lost their insurance, that's when they cared about Obamacare, or Trump care, or Ryan care, or whatever care we have. Okay, you know, it doesn't really matter. When you're affected by it, that's when you suddenly have skin in the game. And so what do the Levites care who's running the system? You know, they really don't. So they're not going to fight. They stay out of the army. They stay out of the army. Anyway, so let's get back to this. The three things, okay, and then the second thing. I also learned that we do not expose ourselves before defecation while standing, but only when seated. And this, he says, for reasons of modesty. Likewise, we do not first rise after defecating and then cover ourselves, but first cover ourselves and then rise. I learned that we do not wipe ourselves with our right hand after defecation, but only with the left hand. And the reason is because the right hand is what ties the tefillin. You're going to argue the left hand is what you put on the tefillin, fine. But the right hand is always, the right side of your body is always considered the more closer to spirituality, whatever you want to call that, stronger. Okay. The right hand is the right side of your body is always that which is going to be considered spiritually superior to the left. Are you going to ask, what about a left-handed person? Reverse it. Look in the mirror. Okay, go ahead.
That's what I was going to ask. Is it based on dominance? If you're left-handed versus right-handed, your dominant hand is the spiritual hand. If the right side
okay, dominance is an interesting word. I guess dominance would be the word. If you write with your left hand, if you're a left-handed writer, then that's considered dominant. So then that right hand, so that your left hand is everybody else's, to be treated like everybody else's right hand.
Right. So the spiritual half of your body goes to the left side because you're left dominant. You use your left side for all. Again,
it's considered like the right hand. It's not.
I had thought though that so left-handed, that a mitzvah that requires a specific hand, such as tefillin and lulav, so the left-handed person.
Lulav doesn't require.
I always thought, I was told that I take the lulav with my left
Oh,
hand.
okay. I hear what you're saying.
I'll
Okay.
take the lulav and then the yes.
Right.
But so, and then to fill it this way. But I seem to remember learning that only for a mitzvah when you have to use it, like taking a kiddush cup. So I take my kiddush cup, left hand. But anything else, the right hand still good. The right side gets like I put my right shoe on first. You know, I wash my right hand first and my right side.
Okay.
You know?
I'm surprised about that, but
Really? Somebody must say something about that someplace.
I'm sure they do. I'm sure they do.
That's why
It would make, but what I'm saying is, in this case, if my reason, I'm going by the reason. Rashi says the reason that I tie my, the Gemara will say it, excuse me. The reason I'm wiping my side with my left hand is because I tie the tefillin with the right hand.
Okay.
So in your case,
So you
you're
should do
tying it with the left hand. So it only makes sense that you shouldn't do it with left hand. Otherwise, the reason falls away. So that's what I'm saying. When it comes to other things, I'm not.
Putting the shoe on.
I would have a hard time believing
I
that.
would put my left shoe on first.
I understand. I would have a hard time believing that a left-handed person's power is not. I mean, I'm looking in the mirror. So my right hand is your left hand. So
but that's
but it should transfer.
Even spiritual too.
Mistamid should.
Mistamid
should. Again,
I've heard otherwise. Yeah,
I won't argue what I don't know, but it's it would just be logical sense. We'll see as we go on. But let's see as we go on. So Amar Ben Azai. Ben Azai said to Rabbi Kiva, Ad kan he'asta panecha b'ravcha. And mind you, he saw him. He learned from his Rebbe. He went to the bathroom. He learned from his Rebbe that you have to defecate from sitting north to south, north or south, excuse me. And then also when you stand up, you don't stand up exposed, but rather he saw his Rebbe pulled up his pants. And then he also said that you don't clean yourself with your right hand, but rather your left hand. Just wait. I'll answer you have two questions, fine. And then, so what happens is, Rabbi Kiva said to him, Ben Azai said to him, Ad kan heyasta panecha bravcha? Did you act so brazenly towards your teacher as to investigate the intimate details of personal behavior? You watched him go to the bathroom? I mean, what's going on here? There's certain limits to where we can go. And his interest, Torah hila mod anitzarech. His behavior, even in these matters, is Torah, and I must study it. Okay, so what was your question first?
What are the trees facing east? You have to sit sideways. What? The seat is facing east or west. Then you have to sit sideways, right? Or find a different seat.
Well, it wasn't like we have seats that tell you how to sit.
Right.
It was just you would sit wherever you're going to sit. It was a bowl, so yeah. So the answer is yes. You would sit north to south. No matter how you're going to do that. Right. In other words, you're thinking of how to switch it, but it's a simple chair. Move the chair around.
Right.
It doesn't matter.
But if that's the case, how do you can't really transfer that now.
Okay. So
I'll just sit sideways on the
okay. So you have when you put your seat in, you can worry about it. Yeah.
That was my question was I thought you had to stop like studying Torah so you can deserve honor for your rabbi. Like if you're infringing.
Well, he wasn't studying Torah.
No, I mean like if this is you can't like just ask the rabbi how to use the bathroom, don't actually watch him using the bathroom.
No. There's a difference of watching my Rebbe and learning halacha, because when I learn halacha, it's very theoretical many times. What I want, the easiest way to learn something is to watch what you do. In other words, you can tell me all day long, don't speak lashon hara, right? Don't speak rechilas, don't speak mosi shema, don't do this, don't do that, and then I see, don't get angry, and then I see you get angry. So what is it? Don't get angry or do get angry? Is there times to get angry? When did you get angry? And when is it right to speak rechilas? When is it right to do all these things? In other words, to every rule that I'm going to give you, you do not do this or you do this. There's exceptions to every rule. Every single rule there's an exception. There's no rule there's no exception to. Okay? And even that rule.
Because there are some.
There's exceptions to that rule too. Okay? So for all those people watching say, oh, Rebbe, I got you. No, okay, you didn't. To everything that they say there's no exception, there's always an exception. Okay? So that's one thing you have to understand. So when I'm watching my Rebbe, it's my Rebbe, not a rabbi. I'm very, when it comes to, I'm watching a rabbi, what do I care about you? You're worthless, not worthless to me, but you don't hold any sway over what I do. My Rebbe, on the other hand, does. I'll give an example. I went when I was in Smicha. So, actually, I was still in Smicha program, but I was no longer I don't think I was in his class anymore. And I went to his shul. Now, he was very strong in saying, Ashkenazic Jews follow the Ramah, not the Mechaber. We don't follow Rav Joseph Karo, we follow Rav Moshe Isserles. In all cases, fine. So what happens, I go into a shul, and I see him sitting down during the repetition of the Shemona Esrei. The Ramah says you should stand up. He says you always follow Ramah. So I went out to him, I said, Rebbe, I don't understand. I said, let me understand something first. Did you not say that we always follow the Ramah? Absolutely. And yet the Ramah says to sit down, to stand up during Chazor Shesach, repetition of Shemona Esrei, and I saw that you sat down. So could you please explain? What am I missing? He said, my Rebbe, Rav Moshe, sat down. It didn't answer my question, by the way. Didn't answer my question. Let him rest in peace. It wasn't Rav Moshe Feinstein. It was another Rebbe, Rav Moshe Soloveitchik. He was talking about. Everybody, they all had, when you talk about a Rebbe, you never, in those days, you went for the first name, and that was it. But I knew who his Rebbe was. It didn't answer the question. So your Rebbe did it. So that contradicts the Ramah? The answer is yes. That's what he was teaching me. If my Rebbe does something, then I should take on that behavior, even though it goes against what the world says. I'll give you an example. My Rebbe, Rabbi Katz, again, Zichron Levracha, should rest in peace, held that on bagels, you say a mizonos. Berei, my name is a note, and not hamotzi lechem haaretz. Because it's boiled before it's baked. So he said, therefore, it's not baked in a normal manner. Therefore, it's pas bab kissen and it's a mizonos. Okay, fine. So it's very convenient to take that on. By the way, to say mizonos is much quicker bracha on both sides. I don't have to wash. I'm doing anything. Fine. So when I'm on the road, it's really very convenient. And so what happened was I say mizonos. I still say mizonos. Unless I'm having two bagels or I'm making it as it's not a snack anymore. Now I'm fixing the meal around it. Those sort of things, which would be, that was, I couldn't go that far. So, but I heard what he was saying, so I said, fine. So I'm at my in-laws' homes, and my brother-in-law and my father-in-law are watching me. They had brought the bagels in. And if you go to the bagel store, that's what's called the bagel hole. If you go to the bagel hole, right on the wall, it says all bagels and pretzels are hamotzi. They ruled. They gave you a ruling. There you go. So they bring it into the house, and here I didn't wash. I cut it. I was only having a bagel, cream cheese, and maybe lox, whatever it was. It was a snack. And so I made him his own. So, the world came down on me. The world came down. And both my brother-in-law and my father-in-law attacked me. What are you doing? They looked at me. You're a rabbi, that sort of thing. Du bist a Rav. Okay. And why are you making him his own? It's a shakol. It's a mochi. It says so on even a sign. By the way, my father-in-law is a Rav. My brother-in-law knows enough to be a Rav. Okay. So they're not idiots. They know what the halacha is. And I said to them, my Rebbe said so. Shut down the conversation. There's no argument there. My Rebbe said so.
Well, how did this bakery? How were they able to make paskin this?
Oh, because they're Rav. Their Rav said it. The Rav Amachshir said put the sign up. It's a motion. I don't get involved in that.
Interesting.
Yeah, so that's it. All of the major, by the way, all of the major poskim hold that it is hamotzi. If you look in the Shulchan Aruch, it's hamotzi. My Rebbe was a dasi achid. I'm not going to argue that. He was an individual opinion out there. Yeah. They even call it bagels. Or somebody called it bagel. Or in the notes they call it bagel.
Is it German food or Eastern Europe?
I don't know. But the point is that it says the very process that he was holding is mazonis. They hold it is, maybe it's a Mishnah Berurah brings it down. They say bagels you have to wash on. So everybody holds that except my Rebbe. But my Rebbe hold that. So you can say I'm wrong and my Rebbe's wrong. But if you're going to do that, by the way, you're indicting the whole Masorah. You can't indict the Masorah. You can't indict the you know what Masorah is, right? The tradition. It's tradition. He received that. He received that. He received. You can't indict that. If you do, you ruin the system. So what you do is you go with the Masorah. So my Rebbe's Masorah was bagel, mazonis and a bagel. Whether or not he made it up or not, I don't know. But that's and I tried to push him a couple of times on it. He said, it's mazonis. What do you want from me? It's mazonis. Until the day of his death, he held it was mazonis. Okay. So I asked him 28 years later. My father-in-law said I should ask you. 20 years later. I had to call for something else anyway. So I figured I'll ask him this time. But no, it's mazonis. What are you talking about? Okay. Well, I remember how he was so sharp on that. Okay. But that's my point. If your Rebbe does it, your Rebbe is Torah. And that's what he's saying. Is Torah he lemodani tzarech? Is Torah I have to learn? It's not. I'm not going to learn just from the books because if he does he can tell me one opinion, but he can do something different, and I want to know why he's doing that different thing. Understand? That's why it's so important to watch, to listen, to learn, and to try to put everything together because Judaism isn't just in the books. It's a living religion. We have to eat chaim hilamachas yikambad. It's a living tree to those who hold on to it. So it's the Gemara said before, the fools that only stand for the Sefer Torah but not for the living Sefer Torah, namely the Rebbeim. Yeah. When a rabbi walks into the room, you're supposed to stand up because he's representative of the Torah. He's a living representative. So if you're going to stand up for the other Torah, which is just a book, certainly the one who's walking around teaching Torah. Again, it doesn't mean every rabbi in the world should stand up for. It means that one you're learning from. That's when you stand up and you show respect to the Torah, living Torah, and it would change a lot of things that people would react like that. And by the way, in the places they do, they have a tremendous amount of respect for not only the Torah but the people who are representatives of the Torah, and therefore, when those representatives do something wrong, they go from the pedestal to the trash can. There's no slow degradation there. If they're caught doing anything like the money laundering and all these things, forget it. They're taken down. You're not even allowed to learn from them anymore. And I mean that's what Shulchan Aruch says. If they're bad, if they're Risha'im, even if they have all the Torah knowledge in the world, they're worthless because you can't learn from them. So if they're proper people, then you can learn. You can learn, and you should learn from them. So that's what he was saying. Really, that's his statement. Okay, and it's a very important thing to remember. Again, once you take, and this is where your son-in-law. I don't want to say names because I say too many names on the internet sometimes. But your son-in-law is very strong on that he doesn't like the power given, one of your son-in-laws, maybe both of them, I don't know. But he didn't like the power that was given to the rabbis. It doesn't like the power. And why should I look at him? Was he better than me? Blah, blah, blah. And the answer is, I'm not going to argue is he better or not. What I'm saying is one's a living Torah, one's not a living Torah. So if I want to have Masorah and I want to not to make it up as I go along, so that's what you do. And that's the problem with Balei Tshuva today. Balei Tshuva want to make it up. They see the Shulchan Aruch, they see this, they mix and match. It's not a proper way to run a business. It's just not. You pick a Rebbe and you go with the Rebbe. Like you guys picked your rabbi, okay? So you daven Sfard. Fine. Follow that tradition all the way through. That's why you can have your rice on Pesach and so on and so forth. But
That's straight Sephard.
yeah, so if you're going to follow that. I have no problem. Just do everything that they're saying. But you can't pick and choose. What?
That's not just New Socks Sephard.
Right. So they take everything. Well, I don't know if they take everything, but I don't watch these guys enough to know what they're doing. That's far and what they're doing. That's Ashkenaz. But I'm just saying, when you start picking those things up, you really have to be very, very consistent, because two traditions don't mesh. They just don't mesh that well. And for obvious reasons. One was in one place and one was in another place. And they all had reasons for why they were making those certain decrees. Okay, let's go on. So Tanya. We learned, it was taught in the Braita. Ben Asi said, Palmachat Nichnasti Acha Rabbi Akiva Lebeit Hirkise Baruch Hashem. So first we had Rabbi Akiva going to the bathroom, following his Rebbe. Now we have Ben Azai following Rabbi Akiva into the bathroom. And I also learned, learned three things. And I learned that we should not defecate from west to east, but only from north, facing north to south. Once again, the same thing he learned. I learned that we do not expose ourselves before defecation while standing, but only when seated. And I learned that we do not wipe ourselves with our right hand after defecation, but only with the left hand. So Rabbi Yehuda said to Ben Azai, Ad Kane asked Bravcha. So again, the same set of question. What, you're so brazen-faced that you watch your Rebbe go to the bathroom? Amalo. So Rebbe Ben Azai said the same thing as Rebbe Akiva said. Torah it's his behavior, even these matters, is Torah, and I must study it. Okay. So now here's an interesting question. You could ask, wait a second. You indicted your Rebbe, Ben Azai indicted his Rebbe Akiva for doing this, and yet he did the same thing to Rebbe Akiva. So what's going on here? Rebbe Akiva told you these three things, so just learn from him. What do you have to go to the bathroom for? So he says all the Ben Azai had already taught these laws, had already been taught this by Rebbe Akiva. Like we said before, he followed him into the latrine to witness their actual performance. Halacha l'maisa. I have to watch. What are you really doing? It's very easy to say, but what are you actually doing, right? For Torah learning becomes much more deeply rooted in one's heart if he sees the teacher actually apply it more than merely hears it from his teacher. Okay, so that's like I said, it's something I wouldn't advise following people into the bathroom. I'm not going to suggest that sort of thing.
So in those days, a bathroom was a big open room with a whole row of.
Right.
It's like we saw in where was it? In Israel and which city it was. Some of the old Roman stuff that was left. It might have been Akko. Sure, but it went into the latrine, and he had a row. It was a long bench, and it was like openings. And just like 6 or 8 like that in a row, just all in open rooms. All it was, and the Romans were in Jews. They had that water flowing underneath. So you came in, you had to go. You sat down. And a whole bunch of people could be sitting down together. No partitions.
You see, today, Baruch Hashem, for our modesty today, we all have partitions. We put doors up. We're very private about it. Yeah, but that's what it was. You're right. I mean, it is what it is. But like I said, the question on Ben Azai, and that's why we answered this way, is you already saw your Rebbe doing it. He told you what to do, so why are you bothering yourself? And the answer is because we have to see what our Rebbe actually does. Like I said, the Rebbe can say one thing, but he can do something totally different because he has a different tradition. But he's giving you giving you halacha. So the halacha is whatever the halacha is. Yeah.
Did it explain why he would do this after indicting him for Rabbi Akiva following his Rebbe?
Again, because he said he wants to see if Rabbi Akiva actually did it. In other words, I can teach you a halacha, but I don't necessarily.
I understand the part where he goes in to actually see it happen, but where it says, Rabbi Akiva, why are you doing this? Shouldn't you have some respect for whatever? And Rabbi Akiva says, no, I do this because whatever the answer was.
Torah, his behavior, even in these matters, is Torah, and I have to learn it.
I have to learn it. So then
Ben Azai answers the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, he answered the same thing.
Yeah, but so why does it explain why he
Did he have a change of heart?
did he have a change? Right.
Obviously.
Right. Okay. So, but they didn't explain that. It just
No,
said.
no, you're learning that out from the story.
Okay.
That you have to learn from the story.
Right. Okay. Okay.
You understand?
So
In other words,
that was-
if I have story A,
Right.
okay, so I have to get the answer. Now I do it.
Right.
So now somebody asks me, so I give the same answer back. In other words, what you're learning is again Masorah here. I'm teaching a very important halacha to you that yes, I can learn, that one can learn, and even though it's chutzpahdik, for the eye to see.
Right.
In other words, what I'm doing, even though it's an open area, okay. So, by the way, you see, you guys don't appreciate the open area part of that. When I went to school, I went to an old school. You probably remember this. You may not. I don't know, because the Audubon school you didn't go to my area, but in Boston, in Dorchester, we had a place called the Audubon School. It was a regular secular, K through 6. Okay, the bathroom was not like we have urinals today. Everybody's urinals was separate urinal. What it was a wall. Remember Yeah, it was a wall with water running down, and it would have a gutter at the bottom, and you're all standing, no partition, nothing. What? With drains, that's all it was, and you pitched against the wall.
Water was coming. The old, I remember very clearly the old ballpark in St. Louis that the Cardinals originally were at. Old ballpark, 1920s, whatever. In the men's room, a big long triangle.
That's all it is.
It was like a urinal, but a big long, continuous.
And everybody just goes.
Hey,
there's no privacy. There's absolutely no privacy.
Yeah.
And I remember that the teacher would be in the background to make sure that we would be going to the bathroom. It's like, okay, this seems strange to me, especially because we're coming from our homes, which you close the door and you don't go in front of anybody. Yeah. So and here your little kid is traumatizing to the kids. But that's again, if you're doing that and you get used to that.
Yeah.
So what happens? We go to the bathrooms again. In normal bathroom etiquette, you don't look at the other person. Right? You look straight ahead to the wall, and it's, you don't look, you don't stay. There's no discussion. It's not even a matter of halacha. Yeah. It is a secular world. They don't discuss things in the bathroom. Yeah. You go, you do what you have to do, and you walk out. Now, there's times that if you're friends, I guess you. But I think once you start, it's over. The conversation ends. Yeah. Okay? You really don't talk. But there, you're already talking because it's just. Like you said, they're in the bathroom. There's 6 people defecating at once. Okay, so let's play. What would if they would have had Candy Craze or whatever these things are on the thing, they would have been playing that in the toilet. But you understand, the more that we take away the boundaries that we now have, the more free it becomes. So if I'm going to see, if I'm there and I'm watching what was going on because I have nothing else to do but sit there. So then I'm watching what he does, and I'm learning. Oh, okay, fine. So then, I notice that, and I say, oh, now I learned 3 things from him because I went to the bathroom. So you're going to say I'm brazen faced? Yeah, but it's Torah. I had to do it. That's the inch that you're getting. So whenever you're doing something that is, again, I'm not advising that anybody hides under the bed, that anybody falls into the bathroom, that anybody does all these things. But if it's part of the culture, I will say that if it's part of the culture that we do these things, then you're by all rights allowed to and encouraged actually to follow and see what the Rebbe's doing. Again, it's a normal function. And so then you see it. If they're going to, does he hold his wife's hand when they're walking on the street? What does he do? How does he talk? How does he, another example is when he sees somebody walking by. Here I tell everybody, the Mishnah in Pirkei Avot says, Makdim shalom l'chol adam. You have to say hi to everybody before they say hi to you. That's all. That's what it means. Makdim shalom l'chol adam. It doesn't matter if they're non-Jewish or Jewish. When they're walking by, you should be the first to say greetings. You don't say shalom aleichem because they want to say it, but you say good morning. And then they can respond. They should not beat you to that, okay? Now here I teach that. Now then you see me walking around, wait a second, let me just finish. Then you see me walking along the street, and somebody's passing me, and I don't say hi until they say hi. So then you should ask me, but Rabbi, didn't you teach Maktam Shalom L'Chol Adam? And then I should say, oh, you're right. But I don't do that. Why? Because I don't trust him. Then whatever the case is going to be. So then you can say, okay, so I learned one thing from Rabbi Neville, not to say hello to strangers. Okay. I'm not saying, by the way, in my case, I actually do hold by Maktam Shalom L'Chol Adam, so you would not see that contradiction. Yeah.
So, and what would be the not punishment, but is it reward to do that?
Reward to do what?
Is this a halacha or is this like a Torah thing? I don't know. Why do people say? Why is there a thing that says that? And if you don't say it, what happens?
Are we talking about saying hello to everybody?
Yeah.
Is it a rabbinical thing?
It's a common sense thing, really.
Well,
But
yeah.
it's coming from the Torah. It's I forget where it's coming from, but it's from Pirkei Avot, and it says that one should say hi to the other. I forget the exact reason. But if somebody does not do that, no, they are not breaking the law.
Or you're in a big city, so you're in our own neighborhood, and you see a neighbor walk. You're going to say hi, of course. You're walking downtown, and there's a bunch more people. You start saying hi to everybody, you might get arrested. So
Right. Again, you have to use the common sense.
Right.
Right.
Also, in a small town, if everyone's saying hello and they all follow this, you're gonna get beat to the punch sometimes.
Okay.
Because the
everyone
other
else
guy's
is
trying
trying
to.
Okay. So the point is that the point of the mission is you shouldn't wait for somebody to give you greetings. You should salutations. You should be the first to offer it. Because what happens if I say good morning to you? Correct, and we're friendly. As compared to if two guys walk by each other like this, right? They go like this. Guys are cool. Guys are cool. So we don't say good morning. We go like this. Shake our heads. Okay, whatever the case is going to be. So we acknowledge the other person. As compared to I'm not acknowledging you at all. That's just I'm not worth it. Yeah, so it's a friendship sort of thing. It's saying that look, again, it depends on where you are. Depends on all these things depend on the situation, but it's the easiest way to diffuse the situation by saying hi. That's all. Morning, and there's many stories that from the Holocaust. I forget it was the rabbi. If I remember the names correctly, it was a rabbi who would always go and say, "Good morning, Herr Müller." Okay, good morning, Mr. Müller. And so every morning he would do that, and the guy would go, "Good morning, Herr Rabbiner, Mr. Rabbi." Okay. So what happens is he comes, and now Mr. Müller. Now the war is going full force. Mr. Müller becomes one of the officers, the right, left in the concentration camp. So the rabbi comes and he sees the guy, and he goes, "Good morning, Herr Müller." So the guy says, "Good morning, Herr Rabbiner," to the right. He saved his life because what?
Right goes to the work. Left goes
Correct.
to the
Right. Left goes to the death, but right. So he said, "Good morning." Yeah. But because he had a relationship, "Good morning," to the right. That's the power of saying good morning. That's the power of being friendly. That's what that story. By the way, whether that story happened, I really don't care.
Right.
Okay, so it's like it didn't happen. I don't really care. For all the people listening, I don't care. Okay, the point, the matter is made that is the power of saying good. That's the power of always being makdim shalom l'chol adam. If I make a relationship with you, it's very hard to kill me, even in those situations. It's very hard to say because you have warm feelings toward me for saying good morning to you, for acknowledging your existence. There was another person in Muncie. There was nuns. Rabbi Yaakov Kamenetsky, he was an old man at that point, and every morning he would go on his morning constitutional. You understand constitutional? Morning walk. It's constitutional. And he lived right next to a nunnery. Right near a nunnery. And he would always see, so the ladies would be out there, the sisters were out there, he would say, "Good morning." And they would again say good morning back to him. Fine. So then the little kids going to school would pass by, and they didn't see the Rebbe doing, because the Rebbe would always walk early in the morning, apparently. So they never said good morning. So and the women would say good morning. They would look at them like, "Who are you to talk to me?" Little kids. The priest, the nuns would say it, and they would, "I'm not talking to you." Now you could always say, by the way, to defense of those kids, they were told don't speak to strangers. I mean, we always tell our kids don't speak to strangers. So okay, you have that sort of thing. But so what happened was the nuns saw an adult and asked, why the kids don't say hi to me. He said, we don't understand it. There's an old man. They didn't know who it was. There's a very old man with a stately beard, a white beard, blah, blah, blah. Always says good morning to me. And these kids don't say good morning. What's going on? So the guy was a little embarrassed because it is the Chel Hashem. Not say hello. If somebody's saying hello to you, say hello back. You don't have to talk. You don't have to sit there, but you certainly say good morning. And so the guys decided he's going to figure out who this old man is. So he positions himself, and he realizes there's Rav Yaakov Kamenetsky. And everybody that knew about it was Rav Yaakov. And from that point on, everybody said good morning to again, whether or not the story actually is that, who knows. But that's the story that they say. But the point is that in all these cases, Makdim Shalom L'Chol Adam means treat everybody like you would want to be treated. You want to be treated properly. People should say good morning to you or acknowledge your existence. So acknowledge their existence. That's all. And you should be the first, because once you're the first, you diffuse the situation. They're not looking at should I, shouldn't I, blah. I'm not saying you have to stick your hand out. I'm not saying you have to do anything else, but say good morning or how you doing. Actually, good morning is probably the easiest, because how are you doing can get you into a whole conversation. Right. I'm doing well, and you? Great. Good morning. Good morning. That's all. It's 2 simple words. Okay, so okay. I can see by this that we are out of time. So we'll stop. We're going to have one more of these. Actually, let me do the last one. You'll appreciate this one. This gets into fun. Okay.
More bathroom stuff?
No, the bathroom this time. Now we even get more personal. Rav Kahana al Gana Tute Puria de Rav. Rav Kahana once came and lay under the bed of Rav. He wished to observe Rav's actual practice, fulfilling the laws of marital relations. Okay, here we go. Shamed Sach v'Sachach v'Asat Sarachav. He heard how Rav first spoke with his wife, then laughed with her, and only then attended to his needs, namely the marital obligations. And what it means is he spoke out of words to her and laughed with her so that she would find the act agreeable. In other words, getting her in the mood. So Amalei, from beneath the bed, he said to him, Dame pume da abba kidelos sharif tavshila. Abba's mouth is like one that has not swallowed food. Now what does that mean? It means you are comparable to a starving man presented with food. For your lightheadedness regarding this act seems to indicate that you are engaging in it for your own pleasure, as one who had never been performing the act. Rav's intention, however, was to infuse the occasion with a certain sense of joy, so as to ensure that his wife would take pleasure in the act. Alternatively, it was to increase his own desire, since children born of an act performed without desire are afflicted with serious character deficiencies. Rav Kahana, and just a little shorter, so Rav Kahana called Rav Abba, in deference and father, and then in deference to his greatness. The related word Av is employed to describe greatness. In Genesis, when Joseph is called Av Reich, patron to the king. Alternatively, intended this appellations prevalent meaning father, since it was customary to address a great person as father as a mark of respect. For example, when the prophet Elijah was taken from his disciple Elisha, the latter cried out, Avi Rechav Yisrael Berashab, Father Israel's chariot and his horsemen. Okay, some contend that Rav's true name was Abba. That was his name. Rav, who connotes greatness, was a name given to him out of respect. Okay, regardless of how that's working, so what happens?
He blew cover.
What?
And when you said, like, what does that mean? I said he blew his cover. That's what it means.
He blew his...
Cover.
No, that was later when they're
No.
talking, I think. He spoke
No,
from under
he
the
spoke
bed.
from under the bed.
Right.
He blew his
Oh,
cover.
Right. So what happens here? So Amar lo, Rav said to him, Kahana, Hachat! Kahana, are you here? Puk lav orech ara. Go out, for it's not property for you to be here. What are you doing? That's a lack of derech eretz. What are you doing under my bed? Get out of here, you Meshigalah.
Yeah.
So Amar lo, Rav Kahana said to him, Torah hi l'mod ani tzarech. Your behavior, even in this matter, is Torah, and I must study it. Okay? So again, what you're seeing is, while these Rebbeim went beyond the proverbial call of duty, and we can get a good kick out of it and say, wow, really? That far? The answer is yes, that far. Again, I'm not suggesting anybody runs onto somebody's bed or whatever the case is going to be. But the point of the matter is that what they did was they wanted to see how you act. Again, we can tell in the world of a class, and to quote one of my Rebbeim, in class I speak in a theoretical sense. It's not, it's in the ivory tower that we live, that I can talk in a practical sense, that I can talk in the theoretical sense. When it comes to practical things, we have to act differently. So here the question is, are you teaching me practical things when I'm reading the halacha, or is it theoretical? And you're telling a person, if you look at the halacha, when you're engaging in marital relations, it says one Rebbe acted like demons were following him. And somebody says you should think of Torah, and you think, what? You're in the act of sex. You're not thinking, of those things, of such lofty things. And am I able to talk to my wife? I'm not able to. What do you do? How do you? What's the tete-a-tete that we're going through? And so, all these things we're told what we can, what we cannot do. But when it comes down to practical, ABCs of it, they're going to say, get out of the bedroom. Leave me alone. I'm going to do what I'm going to do. And I'm going to try to do l'shem shamayim. I'm not going to argue what should be l'shem shamayim. I should make everything l'shem shamayim, but that takes a lot of effort. And he's saying you said it should be l'shem shamayim, yet you're joking with your wife. How's that l'shem shamayim? You're acting like a person that's eaten in 20 days. How's that l'shem shamayim? And he's saying, what are you doing? Get out of my life. But it's Torah. Okay, it's Torah. Go learn from somebody else. Leave me alone. I don't want to be here. But you understand what I'm saying? So when we're looking at all these Gemaras, again, there's more, I'm running through it because we'll in 2 weeks, so we won't be here this next week. But so in 2 weeks we can revisit this maybe, but to see what if there's any deeper meanings to this. But really, what the basic thing is that we're trying to get out of this, when watching. After knowing the halacha, now watching what a person actually does, that's really the Torah. And not what I can tell you theoretically. That's why when it comes to Mayim Acharonim, do I do Mayim Acharonim? Don't I do Mayim Acharonim? When I have a Kiddush cup and I'm benching over a kos, do I take the kos and somebody put it in my hand? Again, I can learn all the halacha in the world, but if I don't implement it, if I don't start doing it and seeing it as an act, if I don't see my Rebbe doing it, I have to ask my Rebbe, why aren't you doing it? And when he says, why are you watching every move I make? It's Torah, Rebbe. And I have to learn. So I'm watching every move you make. I mean, a rabbi goes in, it happened to me many times. I go into a social hall and I'm not eating the food. Somebody comes up to me and says, Rabbi, it's not kosher? What do you mean it's not kosher? Everything's good. But you're not eating. Because I don't want to get fat. What do you want from me? I can't eat kiddush and go home and everything else. I don't want to eat. Okay? Somebody saw me, everything was kosher. And I decided to have the banana. I didn't have anything else. So somebody came to me as a joke and said, well, at least I know the banana's kosher. I said, will you stop watching what you're doing? But I knew it was a joke, so yeah, it was no big deal. But I mean, that's what you have to do. Every single time we do something, if you're looking at me as the role model, and only in that case, then you're going to see something. You'll see something which I'm not really thinking about what I'm doing at that point because it's just what I do. And now you're going to say, but how, that doesn't mesh with what the Torah says. I may say to you, you know what, you're right. After tshuva, it could be, or I could say, stop looking at me. Stop watching. What are you watching every move I make? And so you'll give me the line. Torah hi lamot v'ani tzarech. Leave me alone. I'm following because I want to know what to do. I know theoretically what I should do, but practically, what do I do? When do I get angry? Again, to every rule, there's no exception to any rule except for that exception. Right? To every rule is an exception. And no matter what I do, there's always going to be something that changes that rule. And that's what we always have to remember. Okay.